Hello, this is Andrew working on some statistics problems. I'm working in the area of variability, and the next exercise I need to work on is our quartiles. My homework assignment has 20 different scores in the distribution. I'm going to use an online tool called cram101.com since it will help format everything and puts everything in its proper steps, which is a lot easier than a spreadsheet. So going to Cram 101, this is the labs for statistics menu. Let's go down. We don't need distribution, central tendencies, variability is what we're looking for, and there's quartile. Clicking quartile. The first thing they're going to ask us for is the number of data points in our distribution, which in our homework case is 20. We'll select 20. And then we need to enter the data. So let's go through it. 64, 48, 55, 68, 72, 59, 57, 61, 63, 60, 60, 43, 67, 70, 65, 55, 56, 64, 61, and 60. Okay. So we have the data now entered into the data table. Later, if you want to come back and do some other exercises, you can collect random data, which is nice because it fills all this in for you, and you can practice as long as you want. Or you can use the fixed data, which is an exercise they provide that walks you through the steps. So after entering the data now, the next step we want to do is order the data numerically. So we're just going to put it in numerical order, and Cram will do this for you. So the distribution now looks like 43 is our smallest value, and the largest value is 72. The next thing we want to do is select the number of intervals. 20 different data points is a little bit hard to describe. So what we do is typically reduce the amount of data and we group it. And these are the number of intervals. So we're going to end up with, let's pick 10. We're going to choose 10 intervals. And the upper limit, again, is 72. Lower limit of our distribution is 43. And then the range will be 29, which is the difference between 43 and 72. Taking the range of the distribution and dividing that by the number of intervals that we selected and rounding it up, we'll end up with an interval size or width of 3. So here are our intervals. The first interval is 42.5 through 45.5. The 0.5 is the result of subtracting 0.5 from each lower limit and higher limit of that interval. And that ensures that each score falls into its own bucket and there's no overlap. So the next thing we want to do is get their frequencies. And we click frequency. They say the first one's going to be 1. So what we're going to do is find the number of scores that would fall in the interval 42.5 through 45.5. And let's just go back up to our data. And we see, yes, we only have one value that will fit in that interval. So you go through each interval doing basically the same process, and then you end up with the values 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 4, 3, 3, 2, 2. And then to get the cumulative frequency, basically cumulative frequency means we have to look at the frequency of interval that we're in and add to that all of the cumulative frequency below it. So in the first level, we're only going to have the frequency of that particular interval. So we have 1. In the second interval, we have a frequency of 1 for that interval, and below it, a cumulative frequency of 1, so 1 plus 1 is 2. And then we move up to the next distribution in the same process. We have a frequency of 1 for that particular interval, and a cumulative frequency of below it of 2. So that gives us 3. And we move on like that through all the intervals until we have accounted for all 20 data points. The next thing is to look at the quartiles. Click quartile. So a quartile is the point at which 25%, 50%, 75%, and 100% of the data fall at or below in the distribution. And off to the right here, you see that we have the quartiles. So the first quartile, which is where 25% of data fall at or below, is represented by this interval, and we describe it by using the midpoint of that interval, which in this case would be 56. So we have our first second, third, and fourth. So 25%, 50%, 75%, and 100%. And that gets us our quartile table. If we want to see it graphically, you can plot it out using a histogram, using CRAM, or alternately a polygon, which is probably more typical. And that's how you create a quartile table. Thank you.